Hey man, what am I like? Okay, so um, as I say, I've just box selected all of these vertices, and the reason I've gone into X-ray mode is if I'm not in X-ray mode, it won't select right the way through the mesh. So if I selected this and then had a look underneath, you can see the bottom ones aren't selected. So X-ray mode, top down view with the 7 on the numpad, box select, and then I'm just going to delete those. And I did that using, see, I just go too fast. I've done it before I think about it. Press X for delete, or you can press the delete button, and then you can either select you want to delete the vertices or whatever, or just press V for vertices, and that's them gone. I'll box select
What does
these.
dissolve mean?
Sorry, what?
What does dissolve vertices mean?
I'll show you
Does
that
it
in a minute
look
because I
like a
think
gun?
I'm going to need dissolve. Um, I'm going to press E to extrude, and I'm going to constrain it to the x-axis, and if you hold down control you can click, it'll like you know, click along as per the like the grid lines basically. I don't know if I made sense there. You can tell I'm tired and I couldn't think straight, but I'm just going to line it up with that darker edge there, that slightly thicker edge. And if we hit shift and S, we can then move the cursor, which is this little thing here, to selected, which is all of these. So it'll put it kind of in the center of where these vertices are. And then this is going to be our pivot point. So if we come out of edit mode, right click, this is the object origin. We want to set the origin to the cursor. That's how I would normally do it anyway. I'm sure there's other ways. So we set right click, set origin, origin to 3D cursor. And the little orange dot is there now. So if we were to rotate this, for instance, on the Z axis up and down, that's its pivot point now. And it should be, even if I set the cursor back to the world origin, it should still rotate on the object origin, if that makes sense. So the next thing I'm going to do, because we've now got, I'm going to go back to X-ray mode, because we've now got a pivot point, we're going to add a modifier, and it's going to be the mirror modifier, and we want it to mirror along the x-axis. X is already selected by default, so we've now got a complete chain link basically. And if we apply it, we've got merge ticked, which means that any vertices that are occupying exactly the same space will be merged into one. So we apply that, and if we go into edit mode, you can see if I select one of the vertices, they are merged. It's not, I'm not moving one vertex. I can probably demonstrate that if I was to untick merge and select one of these. You can see they're not joined. We can move these individually. So another thing you can do if you've forgotten to do that and you have applied your modifier, you can select everything here, press M for merge, and choose merge by distance. And anything that is occupying the same space, as I say, now they're merged. So that's a workaround. But if we now go into edge mode by pressing the 2 key, or selecting one of these buttons up here, vertices, edges, faces, but we want edges, which is the middle one. And we can select these. We don't actually need these edges because it's just a straight thing. We don't need all that extra geometry. So we can get rid of those by dissolving the edges. If we were to delete the edges, we'd end up deleting the faces as well, and I'll show you that by going into solid view. We've now only got those edges that's joining it together, but there's no faces. So this part would be invisible because plain edges or vertices don't render. They've got to have faces for them to render in VR. So it's X and dissolve edges. And that's basically what it does. It's, you got any edges that you don't need, but you don't want it to damage your geometry, just dissolve them. And it just keeps everything as it is. So that's our chain link. I'm going to apply smoothing, which is right click and choose shade smooth. And then I'm going to duplicate it. And you do that using Shift D. So we've now got another one. And if you press escape or right click, it'll snap back to where it was originally. And we want to rotate it by 90 degrees along this X axis. We'll do that by pressing R for rotate. We want it to rotate on the X. And if you want dead on 90 degrees, you can just type in 90 and enter. And then probably the best thing would be to adjust the thickness of these now. So I'll just move this along a little bit. G for grab to move it, and X along the X axis. I'm going to join these together. And you do that by selecting both. Just select one of them, hold shift, select the other, and press Ctrl and J. And that'll join them. So we've now got one mesh in the inspector up here. And if we go back into edit mode, press A to select all of the faces, and I want it to be faces, so I'll hit that button, or you could press 3 on your keyboard. And then here you can scale objects, making them bigger and smaller. But if you hold Alt and S instead of just S for scale, Alt and S, you can scale the thickness of your object. So I'm going to make it a bit thicker, just move the cursor up a little bit. If you find it's moving too much and you really need to fine tune it, I'll just make that thinner again. Goodness, there we go. If you really need to fine tune it, just hold down the Shift key. Or is it the Control key now? I'm wondering. It might be Control because I do it without thinking. No, it's Shift. So just move your cursor up while holding down Shift so you've got it nice and thick. And then I'm going to select one of these faces and press L to select all the linked faces. So because the mesh isn't linked to this other chain link, as it were, it'll only select this. I'm going to press G for grab, X on the X axis, hold down Shift and just fine tune it so it's kind of, maybe needs to go a little bit further. Something like that perhaps. Doesn't have to be exact. And there's our first 2 chain links. And then to make a full chain, I'm going to add an array modifier. With the array, you can decide however many you want. So I'm going to have 20 links, which is 10 instances of 2, sorry. But these are not lined up correctly, so we need to move this factor. It's set to a factor of 1, so it's exactly 1 length in between. Like each one has got a factor of 1. If you had a factor of 2, you would have, you know, this space is exactly the same length as the length of 2 chain links. And 1, there's no space between it whatsoever. It's perfectly edge to edge. But we need to move it back a bit. So we'll just move this back. And again, hold down the Shift key to fine tune it a little bit. Try and get it pretty close. And there's our chain. And I'm going to apply it because I want this all to be one mesh. Because when I'm going to add an armature, and I have no idea if this is going to work, but it's going to be fun finding out. So I think what we'll do is I have no idea how to add an armature, so I'm going to press F3 and search for it. Armature, add, so it's Shift and A, simple as that. Okay, because it tells you there what the shortcuts are for many things. So Shift and A, I'm going to go into edit mode on this bone and just select the very top Man, come on. Is that just selected? Yes, it is. And we'll... actually, I think the best thing to do... Let's not do that. We'll rotate it on the Y. So RY 90. Check it's facing the right way. Yes, it is. And I think what we'll do is we'll reset this. We'll put the object origin to that very end vertex. So set origin to 3D cursor, and if we press Alt and G, that'll reset it to the world. Now I need to turn on X-ray because I can't see me bone. I'm going to select that, and in the Object Properties tab here, if you click Viewport Display and click In Front, when I'm in solid mode, we'll always be able to see that bone. So that's going to help a bit. So now what I'm going to do is... I wonder if this is going to work. You know what? This is me experimenting again. We'll select that end vertex, put the cursor there. Select my armature, edit mode. Make sure I've only got that selected. I'm going to try snapping it to the cursor. There we go. So that is now exactly the length of the chain. And if we press A to select everything and subdivide, we can choose however many bones we want. So have maybe 4 or 5. Let's try 5. Six bones, 5 cuts basically. Yeah, we'll give that a try. No idea if it's going to work. So now we want to parent the chain to the armature. So select the chain. In fact, I'm going to rename that with F2 chain so I don't get confused. Select the chain. The inspector does things the other way around than in the viewport display. So if you hold down, does it do it? Yeah, if you hold down Shift and click the armature, the chain is still active. It's yellow. In the viewport display, if you select the chain and then the armature is yellow. You can see up here, the armature is active. So be careful whichever window you're selecting them using. You can always change it by holding down Control in the inspector as well. But make sure the armature is active because that's going to be the parent. And then Control and P, we're going to choose armature with automatic weights. So now, if we go into pose mode and start posing these individual bones, the chain follows it. So, this is the fun bit. I have no idea what I'm doing now. So,
is there any concept of gravity?
not using this method. There would be if I was using soft body physics or rigid body physics, but with this there's not. We're actually going to goodness gracious me, animate it manually. This is age, you know. You forget how to, well, women do anyway. We forget how to forget our own name half the time when you get to a certain age. Okay, so I'm going to start animating this, I guess, and see what it's like, what happens, what we can do. I'm going to pull up my little timeline here, and we'll go into pause mode, and we'll go into straight on view, I think. Maybe start off something like that. And we'll leave it at frame 1. I'm going to hit I to insert a keyframe. And we're not going to be fiddling with the scale, so I would probably just choose location, rotation. And then move it forward a bit, I guess. I don't know, maybe 20, 25. That's going to be or 30. Depends on how fast your frame's going. Let's say 20 because we want it to swing to the other side in under a second. So we'll rotate it again over to here. I, location rotation, and try another 20. Rotate it, but a bit less than last time. I, location rotation. So if we go to 60, we want it to be a bit less again, maybe something like that. How we're doing? Okay. Maybe there. And there. And then maybe by 160 she'll have it kind of settled. Maybe. Insert location rotation. So if we come out of edit mode, the chain isn't bending or anything obviously yet, but at least we've got the basic swing. So if we go back to the beginning, and it does nothing. What on earth have I done? Hang on. It's because I'm in edit mode, that's why. Say you idiot. I thought I'd gone back to... So it's kind of getting there. But I think what we want to do is when this starts to swing, the bottom's going to be left behind a bit, isn't it? So maybe back to pause mode. Maybe select the next bone. Bend it up a bit. I don't know. No idea how realistic this is going to look, but you know. Location rotation. Am I going to have to do that for all of them? I'm going to have to... I think I'm going to have to do that for every bone, aren't I? So if we move that back... Whoa, that's not right. That just looks weird. Let's try that again. I'm going to clear the keyframes. Okay. Oh man. Okay, we're almost back to normal. Try that. Right, so let me try this again. Right, so at about there, we want to start off with a location rotation and then we want to rotate it a bit. So once it gets to there, it's going to kind of straighten up, isn't it? And then it's going to start to be left behind a bit again. Am I doing this completely wrong? Have I got physics totally wrong in me head? Because I never did physics at school, you know. Believe it or not. No, that's not right. It's kind of getting there. It doesn't look too bad. Let's just try and start with the beginning a bit more. So we're going to start at the beginning. Start off with location rotation. Go to about 10. Oh, you know what? I was doing it on 5. That's why it was wrong. Rotate that a bit. Okay. I'm going to get rid of these ones for now. Okay.
Looking good.
Well, we're getting there. Okay. If we can get this done and try and bring it into Unity and see if it'll animate in Unity, well, bloody brilliant, is all I can say. So, um, last one, at least we've gone up to 40 frames, which is something. That's not bad. You gotta admit that's not bad. Rotate that a little bit more. And then straightens up there. Ooh, that's not right. It's like they are all bending the wrong way. I've done them totally the wrong way, haven't I? So, let's see. We've got, and then it goes off to the side, and then we need them bending this way instead. But the next frame should be all right because that was just in the straight position. Yeah, so. Okay, so rotate a bit there and straighten-ish. Let's not do that one. Let's just go here. If you rotate it too much, it is going to distort your mesh. And you'll see, if I zoom in, when I rotate that, see how the chain link is totally twisting? Which is brilliant for avatars. You want arms and legs to bend in whatever way you're changing and however far. But for a chain, the links are rigid. They shouldn't be bending. So what you could do technically is have a bone for every link. But we're not going to do that. I'm just trying to make it as simple as possible. So where was that up to? Yeah. Okay. How we're doing? Shall we play it and see what it's like? Looks more like a wagging tail of a dog, doesn't it? I've got it bending a bit too much, but hey ho. That's where you would spend time fine-tuning it. I'm not going to do that. Okay. So, 90. It's moving from the right to the left, so we'll bend it a bit that way. And then it straightens up at about 100. Come on. Nope. Right. That first one, how far did it go? Oh, 160, damn it. Right, let's try and fly through these quick as I can. It's not right either. So this needs a left hand bend and then a straighten up. And a right hand bend, straighten up, and a left hand bend, just a tiny bit, and straighten it up. So left, what I'm trying to do now, because this is the resting phase, is I'm trying to get this bottom bone to kind of line up with this central line, blue line here, so it's as straight as possible. Right, last one. Right, let's see what that's like. We'll hide the armature just so we can see the chain. It's a bit too wiggly, would need a bit of refining, but you know, it doesn't look all that realistic, but hey ho, I did guess. Like I say, I would just adjust the angles on those rotations just to make it much more subtle, and maybe have a little bit of wiggle at the end as well, even. But we've at least demonstrated how you can animate something. Armatures aren't just for avatars, they can be for anything. And if anybody's been to the High Rise, which is one of the old Altspace spaces in here. No, it's not the High Rise. What's it called? Oh, remember there's the one where there's the bedrooms upstairs and they're all like grey, and there's like showers that are all very minimalist and like granite and stuff. If anybody's been there, there's curtains in there that are blowing in the wind, and I believe they are done with an armature as well. That's how they've managed to animate them. But now we got to try and export this, bring it into here, and see if we can get it working. How much time we got left? Less than 10 minutes. Do you think we can do it? Anybody? Export. Hang on, what we need to do, I wonder if I did this in the beginning. Probably not. Nah, doesn't matter. We'll just play with it as it is. Export FBX, and we're going to put it into, where's this one? Oh, it's that funny named one. Projects. It's going to be selected object. Mesh and armature. Oh, can I select two? Yes, I can. And it's this one in here. And I'm just going to call it chain. It should have exported the animation. I think it's automatically set up to export bake animation. Yeah, that should be all right. So, however, it's not as straightforward as just dragging it in. We might have to do a bit of jiggery pokery to get it to work. And it hasn't exported the mesh because I didn't have it selected. So let's try again. Just overwrite it. There we go. Now we've got a chain. So I'll bring that in there and we'll drag it up, and it's bloody huge. So we'll make it maybe, come on, 0.1. Drag that up. Oh, just press F on your keyboard when you're in Unity if you can't like zoom in on something properly. So I think basically what we need to do now, if we were to play this, it's not going to animate more than likely. Oh, look at that. Don't think I want to do that just now. Can I not just look at it? Where is it? There it is. It's doing nothing. So this is where we need to find the armature, the animation that's on it, and that's it there. And I think we just need, do we drag it on the armature or the bone or the chain? Not a clue. Let's have a look and see. And look at that. We got a swinging chain. Let's move out the way. Is it bending? Is it doing everything properly? We've only got it to play once. So, animation. Where is it? Armature. There it is. There's got to be a way of... Can anyone remember how to loop it? I can't remember how to loop. It's not on here. Chain. No. That's not going to let me loop. Oh man. There is a way somewhere. I just don't do animations very often and I always have this trouble finding it.
Didn't you do it in the animation?
No, because you can't set something to loop in Blender and have it know that it's got a loop in Unity. You've got to do it in Unity itself. I wonder what would be nice, because this is set as read only, have I got to change the asset in some way, perhaps? Read write? Do you think that's going to do it? I don't know. Probably not. Oh, I'm going to have to look that up. We haven't really got time now, but hopefully, see, it's going to have finished its animation before I'm... But it is working. It is working. Normally, you see, what I would... with most animations, I would actually create it in Unity itself. I wouldn't normally use a Blender animation because for this very reason, they're an absolute pain in the arse to get them to to work properly. But you can absolutely do that. You can just create, where is it, animation. We'll call it chain. We can get rid of that and just drag chain onto the object. If we play that, nothing's going to happen. Yep, nothing going on there. And then we would just do the whole thing again, like we did before, but with each bone individually. Rotate it, create a keyframe in here. You could just record keyframes like this, and kind of rotate on the Y as you're going along. So it would start off blank there. Now this time though it's in seconds, so I'm just going to start at the first thing. Drag that up a little bit. Yeah, and just do what you need to do in Unity. It's a bit of a pain though. If you can get this work, the only thing we haven't got working is the loop time, and that's just because I can't remember how. With it being a read-only file. I wonder if there's a way though of exporting just the animation. You know what? I'll have a look at this over the week. I'll see if there's a way of exporting or extracting just the animation so it's a file on its own, and then we will have full control over it. I'll look at that for next week and maybe do something. I'll make a chain that's working a little bit better as well, that doesn't look quite like the wagging tail of a dog. And yeah, we'll do something with it. We'll maybe have a room with a few chains dangling or something, and get them all to wiggle in different ways. But yeah, that's as I say, we've winged it this week. I'm very sorry about that. I didn't have a proper lesson set up. Work just got in the way, and real life and stuff like that. But at least we've had a little bit of a play with animations and armatures on chains. I'm going to see if I can come up with some ideas of what else we can do, because I know there was one thing I did where I made a little spider that kind of walked along the ground and looked a bit jiggly and stuff, and that might be a fun thing to do as well. I think that's what we'll do. We'll have a little bit play with armatures a bit more and animation. I'll have a proper lesson set up as well, and we'll do something a bit more constructive and see what we can do. Because what would be really cool, is if you've got a spooky world, and you could have little spiders with wiggly legs running all over the ground or up the walls and things. That would be quite cool if you did it all with animations rather than having something follow a spline and just have these randomly moving legs. You could get it looking really quite realistic, I think. Yeah, we'll do that. Is that
swinging from a cobweb or something?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, we could. Is that something you might be interested in? I don't want to just say I'm going to do it if it's something you don't want to cover.
That'll be useful.
Mm-hmm. Right, okay. That's what we're going to do then, because I don't think we've ever really covered animations. We've spent so much time on UV unwrapping, getting the best out of your textures, making your own shaders, all that kind of thing. It's something we've never really covered. So, yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that next week. That's a plan. Okay.
Great. Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you, everybody, for coming along. I'm sure you're well aware by now I'm no expert, but I do have a lot of fun making spaces, and if there's anything that I can pass on to anyone else that would help them making their own space, I'm more than happy. So if anybody's got any questions or suggestions or anything for future sessions, just shout up. I mean, you don't have to just do what I do, what I want to do. You're welcome, Berry. It's fun. It's always fun just having to play around with stuff and seeing what you can achieve. So yeah, I'm going to end the recording. This will be uploaded tonight along with the other two that I still haven't done.